Now, before we get to that, this brings us to the Gilded Age, because it's not just these European palaces from the 19th and early 20th century. There's another strange pattern that appears in America. You have all these rich mansions, these palace-like estates being built that look remarkably similar to the palaces of Europe, all of them tied to what we're told is the Gilded Age, or perhaps another narrative, another piece of carefully shaped history, presented to us under the banner of exposing corruption. Or was it something else, a different kind of persuasion guiding the public toward accepting a new class of new overload and power? And that is where this story begins to shift. These wealthy capitalists, the so-called robber barons. And yes, they say that because they were stealing wealth, but maybe that wasn't the only thing they took. So yeah, we're talking John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, Henry Ford, the Vanderbilts, and many other families, most of whom weren't even American. They were placed and connected to secret societies in Europe. Not only that, they were connected to famous writers like H.G. Wells and groups such as the Fabian Society. They shaped the entire worldview. They wanted us to see them as wealthy capitalists, but that was the illusion. That was controlled capitalism. They were placed. They were hijackers. And when you look at this entire Gilded Age narrative, you start to notice how they all began spending enormous amounts of money on massive mansions, some of which have never truly been replicated today. These buildings contain extremely expensive artwork, and yes, these people were rich, but where did all that money really come from? There's also evidence that many of these buildings had some kind of forgotten technology. The fireplaces don't look like they were meant for burning wood. They're too elaborate and often include strange devices seen repeatedly in these structures. Were these some kind of heating systems that came with the original building? And after being repurposed, they simply started burning wood and slowly damaging these places. Now, this isn't to say that none of these buildings were constructed during that time. Some absolutely could have been with the right resources, but in many cases, the story doesn't fully align, and maybe they weren't built the way we were told. I also find it interesting how many of these photos have those washed out skies that suggest heavy retouching. Back then, they called it photo retouching, but if they could do that to images, why not to architecture? Absolutely. And if we connect this to what we know about waste management during this same period, it raises another question. Was there some kind of takeover? Even the official narrative admits that many of these European palaces changed ownership through conflict. So how do we know that the victors didn't simply rewrite the story? One example among many is what happened on Fifth Avenue, where several of these massive buildings were demolished, including the Vanderbilt mansions. I bring this up because the scale, the design, and the wealth inside were extraordinary. One of them was a massive French Renaissance-style palace called Petit Chateau. Interesting. The Vanderbilts owned hundreds of properties, and when you look at Fifth Avenue today, the official narrative starts to feel questionable. This is also where St. Patrick's Cathedral stands. And if you're someone who studies construction photos, you'll notice something. There aren't many, and the spires weren't even added until 1930. Whenever you see those staged construction images, something feels off. Who knows? Maybe additions were made, maybe structures were modified, but the pattern is always the same. They show it only after it's already been built.
The Vanderbilts were far richer than anyone today. William received almost $100 million, or I think $3 billion. But the difference is, no one back then had anything near this amount of wealth, except royalty in other countries, which again is why the history regarding these families are so suspect. There's actually a lot to this Vanderbilt story that may be outside the scope of this one video, but this is a good foreshadowing to our next video that I promise you, I think you guys will really enjoy. We're going to go visit the biggest one. That's all I'll say. But back to what I was saying about the different possibilities as to what's going on here with waste management. I do believe it's a little bit of both scenarios. There must have been a time in our development where we did not need to poop. Now, of course, This is coming from a spiritual, cosmological view. Nothing modern view of evolution that says our consciousness formed after matter. No. This idea that we came from spirit and slowly became material or devolved over time. We first became harmonious with nature. The first stage, or the Fey people, the androgynous spirit beings, the blue beings that were in harmony with the forest. Of course, I'm talking before Atlantis and very early astral human stages of development. But over time, after the deluge, it would make sense that things were more material, and so humans began to eat and poop.
At first, being that, after the deluge, the main inhabitants whom built these architectures were the Druids, Aryans, or the teachers after Atlantis, which just included all varieties of people. They began building these architectures, but they possessed some technology for converting their poop into an energy source, keeping their cities clean, and this would also give them a good, renewable resource. This is the intelligence I would expect from the minds behind these palaces. All it would take is these latching or latrines that can collect a vast amount of fecal matter and then convert the methane or gas into a fuel source. Don't think it's that advanced of a tech, and this would be another fuel source that they would have access to. Maybe this is what they did for a while, possibly then learning about ether technology and atmospheric electricity, which then could have been another factor involving the cataclysms occurring during this time. After the cataclysms, people began moving into these cities. As in with Europe, they started to reverse engineer these leftover cities. But the only difference is that because of these cataclysms, these survivors that found these cities were of a different culture and had resulted in eating flesh and were cannibals. This is the true history of meat eating. It began with cannibalism, not the need for hunting. If you were that primitive that you have to survive off the hunt, then what happens when there's nothing to hunt? Most tribes resorted to cannibalism. So, this concept of eating flesh got introduced into these cities. You had these people literally farming thousands of animals. They moved in a populace of people or orphans into these cities, and the aristocrats would just sit on top while they shat in these hijacked palaces from a recent civilization. They then tainted not only the entire city with fecal matter, but then they destroyed the water source. It really makes no sense if you think about it. It's literally impossible to create a functioning society in the way that they tell us without proper hygiene. Yet, they were just living this way for the last 2,000 years. But the Romans had it figured out. That makes sense. Not only that, but toxic poop became problematic in other ways. They began taking this toxic poop that not only was causing cholera everywhere, but they would take this sewage sludge from the cities and create these sewage farms for using these poops to fertilize the population's food supply. You don't think that has an energetic effect on the foods that we eat? If you bring in all that we said about the United States, none of these cities were designed with plumbing or waste management in mind. They had to reinvent it after the 1850s, which just shows that they had no clue what they were doing. I don't see the sudden rise in city population being an appropriate argument, as the level of architecture, science, and tech being developed at this time does not align with their inability to properly design and set up these cities. It actually makes more sense that these cities were founded upon older foundations, and slowly, piece by piece, they made modifications. Almost every American city has an entire underground component, or old city beneath the modern one. Just like Futurama, the next civilization builds on top of the old. I think it's not too crazy to think that there would be some sort of cultural amnesia that goes over along with something like a cataclysm, especially if there are more children than adults left over. But you tell me, what do you think? Do you think that there was a time where humans didn't have to poop? Why do these palaces not have bathrooms? And why were these aristocrats pooping in the hallways? Was there possibly a way that they could use poop as a fuel source? Hope you guys are having a good week. And please, if you think this is a good topics that you like, please support us with like, share, and comments. It's really helpful to deal with YouTube algorithm. Especially YT. It's not really a fan for such a topics. Also, we have a new page on Facebook, so please follow us there to stay tuned about our upcoming videos. Thank you everyone for your watching, and let's hope that maybe, one day, the veil on our mind will be removed, and we understand the truth of this world.